Hi, and welcome to the Unhinged History Podcast, the podcast where two absolute crazy heads are going to
You
mainline,
silly goose.
right? We're going to mainline history, and then we are going to join forces and tell each other the story we've only recently learned. I'm host one, I'm Theresa, and that is host two.
I'm Angie. Hi.
Truth, facts.
No lies detected.
Yeah, and I believe, don't you go first today?
I do. It is
Yes.
me.
Yeah, I think I
I'm
got
just
so
making,
excited last time that I just stole the show. I was like, I'm gonna go. Get out of my way.
and I was like, cool, cool, cool. I'm not emotionally ready yet.
I think not
Thanks.
emotionally ready yet is strong.
I really think it needs to be on a shirt for me. Yeah.
I'm here for that.
Well, right? Um, let's get right into it. Do you have your murder board and your red string out?
I don't know which one of us has a blaggy internet, but I didn't hear.
My internet says I'm golden.
Then it's probably my internet and I that are unstable.
Well, at least you're unstable together.
Truth.
Tell me if you want me to try again.
Just go ahead and see. You said something about murder board.
Yeah, do you have your murder board out and your red string ready? Because I'm going to tell you about the missingest man.
The missingest man?
Yes, the missingest man.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. My sources, Wikipedia had an article on Judge Joseph Force Carter. Lafayette University has an article titled Looking Back, New Novel Suggests Fate of Judge Joe Carter, Class of 1910. Ebesco, EBSCO, however you want to say it, has a like really condensed version of his story that was very useful. Um, History.com has an article called This Day in History, August 6th. Joseph Force Carter becomes the missingest man in New York. The SigalMuseum.org, have you seen this man? History.com's got a Aaron Blackmore article titled "The 1930s Investigation That Took Down New York's mayor and then Tammany Hall."
Whoa.
A Political.com story called "Judge Joe Force Creator Disappears," August 6th, 1930. And then the Wall Street Journal had an article, "Finding Judge Joe Creator Review, Hot Town Cold Case" by Edward Costner in June of 22. So, let's get into it. Joseph Crater was born January 5th, 1889 in eastern Pennsylvania to Layla Virginia Montague and Frank Ellsworth Crater. Both of his parents are Irish immigrants. And I'm just thinking, those are some pretty fabulous names I'm certain that they didn't start with. But that's just my opinion.
What do you mean they didn't start with? Like they got to create them or
I'm thinking when your name is Lila Virginia Montague and you're an Irish immigrant, that's probably the name you chose when you came into the country as opposed to the name you were born with.
I don't know. I think that you might be you I don't know. I think
I
they
mean,
had
either
those.
way, I'm a huge fan of Irish names. Either way, they're great names. So like I'm
Didn't
here
you
for it.
just throw shade in a very recent episode about Irish names and then later looked it up like, I'm just kidding, they're great. That was
No,
right.
I literally said it is not an Irish name. This is the most not sounding Irish name I said, and then I looked it up and said, "See, I'm right." Anyway, okay, Pop is a produce market operator as well as an orchard owner. Joseph is the oldest of four children. Unfortunately, I can't really speak to his childhood. Don't really know anything about that. But he went to Lafayette College in Pennsylvania and he graduated in 1910. And then he goes on to Columbia to get his law degree in 1916. While he's at Columbia, he meets a girl called Stella Mance Wheeler. Now, she's already married. Scandalous.
That's not going to be a problem, is it?
No, I mean, because in the spring of 1917, he helps her get a divorce from her first husband, and it's just 7 days later, they're married. So,
That's a bit quick.
Yeah, I don't know how long the divorce took, but well, 7 days after it was finalized, they were married. Now, Lafayette says, quote, Crater was a snappy dresser known for his tailored suits. When he disappeared, he was wearing pearl gray spats, a double-breasted brown suit with thin green stripes, and a Panama hat cocked at a sporty angle. He wore an old-fashioned detachable choker collar of starched linen and a gold Masonic ring. End quote. Such a
That's
look,
that's the fit.
right? Such a look. Crater, after he goes to law school, he gets his degree, blah, blah, blah. He works his way up from the clerk to law secretary to New York State Supreme Court Justice Robert F. Wagner. And then from there, he opens his own office in the Equitable Building in Manhattan. Now, it is worth noting that Wagner becomes a U.S. Senator in 1926. So you can already sort of see like the political ties that this man is going to have, right? Right about the time he opens his office, he also joins this club called the Cayuga Club or the Cayuga Democratic Club with a man called Martin J. Healy. Now, Healy is the district leader for Tammany Hall. And so Crater is creating all of these political connections like all throughout New York. And not only are they political, but he also has connections to every showgirl in town because my guy loves Broadway. Also, Healy is not the most scrupulous of fellas, if you know what I mean. Like he is gonna get embedded into a scandal not too long from now. So just like
Okay. I'm
this is
holding on to that.
1930s politics. Like it's not gonna be right. Okay, so here's the clean version of Tammany Hall because I think this is important. They are an American political organization that was founded in 1789 as the Tammany Society. It's eventually going to become the main like political machine for the Democratic Party. It plays this huge role in controlling both New York City as well as New York State politics. Now, on the other side of that, Tammany Hall is doing like a lot of great work for immigrants and you're just your average Joes. So they have like these two sides that are working together and sort of butting heads with their ideals. Kind of in my imagination, that's sort of how it looks.
Okay.
You can imagine, because I've just given you the clean version, that there is a not clean version that features bribery and fraud.
Yeah, I mean, when I've heard of Tammany, I didn't necessarily hear, hey, here's the great work.
Yeah, 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 right? Okay, because they are heavily involved in a lot of scandalous political moments, especially in this area. Now, Crater, he spends his time in the Cayuga Democratic Club, which is a wing, like a branch of Tammany. He is organizing election workers and representing the club in election law cases. Because, right, he's a lawyer. This makes sense. Now, one of the more interesting things that Tammany is known for, and I find this so fascinating, they are known for selling government jobs. For example, you want to be the judge, they make you the judge, but you just got to pay them a year's salary. Like they have that kind of power. By the
So
30s, Tammany, yeah,
a year's salary every
hmm
year? Basically, I work for
the one
free?
time.
Okay.
Like I make you the judge this year, you pay me next year's salary, that sort of thing.
I'm with you.
Now, shocker, by the 30s, Tammany is run by the mob,
Ah, surprise, surprise.
who is also feeding Prohibition era New York all the beer it wants if you know where to look. So, he's got these massive political and maybe seedy underworld connections, definitely connections to showgirls. There's all these things that are like the people that he is in the orbit of and the people that are in his orbit are it's crazy. Now, on April 8th of 1930, Crater has been promoted to the New York Supreme Court by none other than the then governor of New York, A1 Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You're going
Aha.
to want to keep that in your brain. By doing so, FDR has outright rejected the preferred candidate of Tammany Hall, But at the same time, this is just done to fill a position that has recently been opened. So in order for Crater to keep his position, he's going to need to go on the campaign trail for November's election. Right? Okay, so in August of 1930, him and his wife go to Maine. Now, typically they would summer there. I'm kind of pissy that I don't get to summer anywhere, but I guess different time, different tax bracket.
Yeah, no, it's just different tax bracket.
Yeah, just whatever. I would like to summer somewhere. Anyways, um, this year though, he waits for a court to adjourn for the season to go. So she goes up, he stays, she comes and go, like he comes and goes, that kind of thing. What we do know is that at some point in that summer, he spends 2 days in Atlantic City. We don't know why or if it even matters. But by early August, he is with his wife in Maine. On August 3rd, he gets a phone call. He tells her he's got to go back to the city to straighten those fellas out. And then he tells her he'll be back before her birthday, which is August 9th. Now, we know at some point between August 3rd and like August 24th, he visits his old boss Wagner, like they have lunch together. Now, Crater has this court attendant. I'm assuming this is like his assistant. His name is Joseph Mara, and Mara says that on August 6th, the judge spends the whole day filling briefcases and file boxes with documents. And one source even says he has destroyed some at the same, like in the same go. So we're
Huh.
not so sure. Mara also says on this particular day, the judge is very antsy. And up to this point, he's kind of a laid back fella. So Mara's like, something's up. I just can't pinpoint what we're doing, but something's up. At some point during this day, he also asks Mara to cash a couple of checks for him, equaling about $100,000 in today's money.
It's a bit sketch. I mean, that said,
Back
I hope
then,
my boss would ask me for that.
right? Back then, it's about $5,000. Now, he knows that he's got dinner plans that evening with attorney William Klein and a chorus girl called Lou Ritz. He also has tickets to the review dancing partner at the Belasco Theater, which is on 111 West 45th Street. Now, here's where it goes a little wonky. It's already wonky, right? Because he's supposed to be vacationing with her wife, or with his wife. Andy Klein, excuse me, the attorney William Klein and the chorus girl say they saw him leave the restaurant about 9. We know someone uses his theater tickets, but we're not sure if it's him.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Stella, his wife, her birthday has come and gone. Her birthday is August 9th, and he hasn't returned. He hasn't called, nothing. Now, she is clearly disappointed, but she assumes he's stuck doing work, right? He's just been appointed to this position a few months earlier. Who knows what's going on? It's got to be a work thing. Now, one of my sources, which I did not give you the name of because I can't yet, they have other stories I intend to tell you at some point. Um, they say that she's not initially suspect of anything because he's done this kind of thing before where he's just run off and disappeared for a few days.
Oh, yeah, see,
However,
and this is what I was thinking, right? Like the
right?
fact that she wasn't packing her bags or burning his stuff meant
Right.
that she's used to this.
Now, the interesting thing to point out here, though, is despite the fact that this source says he's kind of known for this, he is typically not one to break a promise to his wife, despite the fact that, according to other sources, he is absolutely a philanderer. So I'm like, how do you not break a promise to your wife, but you literally broke the promise to your wife?
Well, I guess it depends,
Like,
right? Because maybe he looked at her and he was just like, "Hey, you know how you have a headache? I'm gonna go pound one out with Lucy."
you know, it could have been a marriage like that. Who knows? But after a few days of him not coming back, she starts calling like all of his contacts. And none of them are saying anything, like the old boys club, like, oh, he's probably just run off with his mistress, like no big deal. They're cold. They don't know nothing. Haven't seen him. Haven't talked to him. Blah blah blah. Now, Here's what I find to be really interesting about this. She waits like 20 days before she reports him missing to the authorities. Because
Interesting.
again, on the one hand, it's interesting because really 20 whole days? Like,
How,
okay, I
what
believe
it
you
was his
think that he
record like
ran off.
before?
That's what I want to know, and I haven't found anything to determine that. What I also find interesting is if he is known for this and you expect him to come back, I could see somebody not wanting to call the authorities and make it a thing if you expect him to come back. But like 20 days is a long time one way or the other, and none of his friends have seen him. Now, one source says that at some point she does send her like chauffeur to go back to the house in New York to their apartment and try to find him, try to locate him. And all he finds is a door he can't open and a bunch of unopened mail. So he's not really getting anything either. Now, she reports him to the authorities, and because he is high profile and like in New York, he is incredibly well known about town, like very famous, and this makes him famous across the country because he is New York famous, right? He is high profile and political. The police do their very best job to keep their investigation quiet because they're like, this cannot be a thing, especially during an election year, especially since he is currently riding the coattails of FDR.
Heard.
Like,
Okay.
there is all kinds of little parts to play here. And so they're doing their very best to just keep everything very quiet. Unfortunately, this doesn't work because on September 3rd, somebody leaks the information to the press and the news explodes like nationwide. And this immediately provokes rumors of political scandal, of course, because why wouldn't it? Now, two things to know about this particular moment in time. Just earlier that year, because of other political problems, FDR had launched something called the Hofstadter Committee or the Seabury Investigation, which was a joint legislative committee formed by the New York State legislature on behalf of FDR because basically they need to like probe the corruption in New York City. There is some problems you've had, especially in the magistrates courts and the police department. Like we've got issues. We need to figure out what the issue is and resolve it because this is corrupt from top to bottom. Like where's the problem? This eventually is going to lead to some major changes in both the method of arrest, bail, and litigation of suspects in New York City. Now, the other thing that you need to know is that in May of 1930, Crater has cast some checks and converted some stocks in what they say was the amount of a year's salary.
Dun, dun, dun. Here we go.
Do with that what you will. Um, so I find this interesting when you consider that FDR chose him over Tammany's Hall pick, but Tammany Hall is known for this type of thing. So is it like one hand feeding the other sort of thing? Like you don't know what I'm actually trying to accomplish, so I can't tell you this, but I'm really upset that you didn't pick my guy, kind of thing. Anyway, the efforts of the police are useless. Shocking. I wonder why. We've just discovered that there is a committee investigating corruption in the police department.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I
They
mean,
never
some
find
things never
anything,
change.
right? They find like bupkis. Now, his wife is less than helpful almost the entire time. She is refusing to speak. She is refusing to come to New York until like January of the following year, so 1931, because the whole time they have a grand jury opening or open regarding all of this, and they are trying to determine what the heck happened and investigating as many witnesses as they can. So you would think his wife would be like, "Yes, I will come down and speak to the grand jury." She does not. The grand jury, by that time, is unable to determine anything. Whether he's alive or dead, they have no idea. So the wife finally comes back in January of 31. Now, when she returns, she reaches out to the DA's office and she tells them that she found a few envelopes in a drawer containing around $6,000 in cash, which I guess in today's money would be over 100 grand. and a list in the judge's handwriting of companies and individuals who owe him money, a $30,000 insurance policy that's listed her as the beneficiary, and one of the envelopes contains a note to her that ends with, "Am very weary, love Joe." She reports this all to the district attorney. Now, she says the police must have overlooked it because it's been in the house the whole time. But they searched the house like 4 times and they never saw it. Additionally, all the stuff that Crater's assistant had helped him pack back on August 6th and move to the apartment was not there. Additionally, and another thing, they examined a police officer who did the investigation in the house, and he was able to, from memory, tell them everything that was in that room except for those letters.
So that's suspect.
So,
Yeah.
super sus, right? Now, I'm thinking whatever, if she's involved, she placed them there, but who knows? She may have just had them at the main house and brought them, but she says they were in the New York apartment. Anyway, all of this happens and nobody has any information. Nobody can find anything. She sends out personal private investigators. They're searching nothing. 9 years go by. On June 6th, 1939, Crater is officially declared dead at her insistence, allowing her to collect at least a portion of his life insurance. Now, she's going to write a book later saying that he was always faithful to her, and the reports about the other women were absolute lies. By
You know,
79, the case
honestly,
is
the
closed with
lies
no
we tell
resolution.
ourselves.
Right? That's that's what I thought the whole time. Like, if everybody else in the story knows he's out seeing showgirls, what is she doing with her free time? And
I mean,
also, really?
yeah. Look, you honestly, I there's examples I want to give, but then I remember this call is recorded and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this go.
Like, it's just, what are you gonna do? So you can imagine there's no resolution, but there are tons of ideas as to what could have happened. Among others, it could have been Tammany Hall. It could have been other political factions, a scorned lover, the mob, or a little of column A, a little of column B. Take your choice. I'm going to give you a few clues that have come out since then. In 2005, a sealed letter is found by the granddaughter of a woman called Stella Fucci Good. She died April 2nd. She leaves this letter saying it was in regards to the missing judge and please don't open it until she's dead. Well, when she is officially dead, the family does in fact open the letter and it details the story that her husband, Robert Good, had told her, saying that he had once, years before, been privy to a conversation between a New York policeman called Charles Burns and his cab driver brother, Frank Burns. Now, apparently, the way he was privy to this conversation is he was the guy in the neighborhood that everybody like came to drink and barbecue with, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it was one of those like loose lips kind of moments, and these brothers just tell all. They say that in August of 1930, Frank picked Crater up and drove him to Coney Island, where his brother was a cop working the Coney Island beat. They and other accomplices kill Crater and bury him on Coney Island under the boardwalk near West 8th Street. So, like, holy cow, you have a confession and a location?
But what's the motive?
Well, here's the problem. In the 1950s, that would become the site of the New York Aquarium. So, one source says they found several humans' remains down there during construction, but they reburied them in an unmarked grave elsewhere. So we may never know who was down there to begin with, and how long they were there. Like whose human remains were these? So there's that.
Okay, sketchy.
Super sketchy. Now, the Wall Street Journal says, quote, no real lead materialized. This is the one that absolutely pulls my brain. I love this one. No real lead materialized for more than 2 decades, but in 1954, a dying Harlem butcher named Henry Krause, excuse me, who had once owned a house in Bronxville, told cops that Crater, Healy, and a man with the last name of Ewald had used his place to party with whores and that they had once buried $90,000 in city graft in the backyard. He said he had gone to the house the Sunday after Crater disappeared and found the kitchen a bloody shambles and the backyard dug up. In another flabbergasting turn, this is wild. This is all from the Wall Street Journal. A magazine writer found a clairvoyant in the Netherlands who professed to confirm the story in detail and added that Crater's body was buried in the basement of the house. Now, at some point after this confession, I believe it was either Life magazine or Newsweek, I didn't put which one it was, they fund an excavation of the yard. They find nothing. However, I've got questions about why you don't know why your kitchen is covered in blood.
Yeah, I'd have questions. If I come home, my
Right?
kitchen's covered in blood, I'm not stopping until I figure out what happened.
And your friend has gone missing, oh, and the $90,000 is gone?
Take your pick to any one of those, because the last time I came home and my house was covered in blood, it was because the cat brought home a toy that was still alive and batted it around the house to coat everything
Hmm.
equally in the carnage.
They were just helping. They were redecorating for him.
Yeah.
Now, another option is he could have double-crossed Legs Diamond, the Irish-American gangster, or any number of showgirls. There is one who thought he loved her, but she was located just a few weeks later in a hospital dealing with rheumatism brought on by a very severe case of gonorrhea.
Oh my.
Yeah, so she was busy at the time. Um, there is also one that was known to swindle over schmucks like Crater using the help of Legs Diamond. Her name is Vivian Gordon, and she would be found strangled 5 days after threatening to reveal details of all of her high-profile clients to some rather corrupt investigators. So there's that. Supposedly, after her death, they find a diary containing the names of 300 very powerful and very likely corrupt men. Crater's name was on the list.
Hmm.
So, there is no definitive smoking gun or answer. What I think is it was definitely politically motivated. I think that FDR becoming the president was because if he want basically the gist is if FDR gets the second governorship of New York, he is bound like he is going for presidency, and if they can get a Democrat on the ticket, anybody's going to beat Hoover. They just need to get the right. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think whether whether FDR was in was excuse me, whether FDR was directly related to this, had any knowledge of this, who knows? But I think somebody was trying to shut Crater up. He knew just a little bit too much. The other thing that makes me wonder, is it a little column A, a little column B, is that he could have been out at Krause's house and there could have been a whole insane incident that required the kitchen to be covered in blood before or after the two boys from Coney Island. But
And
it
what
all
would
drives
that
me
be for
insane.
you?
Who knows? I think that everything is related to everything else. Tammany Hall, Lakes Diamond, FDR, like everybody's in everybody's sphere and in each other's pocket in some way. Whether I'm not trying to put shade on FDR, but someone in his campaign knows what's up or did one way or the other, and maybe only everybody knew one part, but somebody knows what happened. Whether they're still alive or they're all dead is irrelevant. But what the hell happened to Judge Crater?
Well, thank you for leaving me with only questions.
You're welcome. Get out your murder board because I've been thinking about it for days.
All right, well, fine. I'm going to sharp pivot. I'm going a very different direction because
Good
screw
for
this
you.
game.
Going home.
I'm going to tell you about Mother Joseph.
Why does this name sound
Yeah,
familiar?
you don't know who she is. You don't know who she is.
Okay.
You don't. Um,
Okay.
my sources, I Okay, first off, I'm going to own the fact that basically you're going to get a darn near resuscitation of the brickmojo.net website. They quote Brick
Brickmojo.net.
Mojo. Now, if this sounds suspect, I promise you it's legit. They cite their sources there. Their sources are a lot of really old, rare books about
Okay.
very local history to Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
Um, are you going to Brick Mojo?
No, I'm typing in my story notes so I don't forget.
Okay. But they have the founders of this website have a podcast that is now defunct, which is too bad. The podcast is called Two Witches, and most of the published episodes are about Mother Joseph, whom they shorthanded as Mojo.
Okay, this makes the website make sense.
Yes. Um,
Okay.
Now, another source I have is Historic Trust, the Providence Academy history page that they have there. Okay.
Okay.
Now, this story was recommended that I tell by YouTube. There's a user named Mr. Blue-NGH2HD.
All right.
All right. He said I needed to cover Mother Joseph and the Sisters of Providence. And I was like, bet. All right, let's play this game. What do we got? Now, April 16th, 1823, Esther Perizu is born. She is the
That's a fun
eldest,
name.
isn't it? She's the eldest daughter of 10 children. She grows up, she's going to be she will become Mother Joseph of the Sacred Heart, okay? That spoiler,
Okay.
this is where we're going. Now, she grows up learning both traditionally feminine taught skills, sewing, embroidery, mommy teaches her that, and then she learns the construction skills from her father, Joseph Parzu. And he's a carriage maker.
Okay, that's cool.
Right? Okay, now she is kind of this little revolutionary, this little radical, because she deeply admires her brother, who's also named Joseph. So, Father Joseph, Brother Joseph, she will later become Mother Joseph.
So everybody is Joseph.
Everybody is Joseph. This is like the Marie Laveau episode where everybody's Marie.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Let's go,
Now,
Joseph Joseph.
exactly. You say Joseph, and five people turn their head and go, yeah. Now, her older brother Joseph, whom she loves, he led a militia allied with the Sons of Liberty in response to some political turmoil that's going on in French Canada. At this point, we have the Napoleonic Wars that are raging in France. And over in the New World, in French Canada, the Catholics are fighting for their right to practice their religion.
Okay.
So, her brother has this oversized ego because he's given this role of leadership, and this irritates Esther so badly that she founded a chapter of what she called the Younger Sons and Daughters of Liberty as a home guard militia.
Okay, I love her.
She has over 40 10 to 14-year-old boys and girls.
Love the, and she's what? She's 15?
Yeah, whatever it is, she's
I
not on
love
her
it.
own. Yeah. Um, she's training them, including her older brother Stanislaus. Stanislaus, being male, he's technically in charge of this whole brigade, but she takes over regularly. No complaint from the brigade.
You
Yes,
know, when
ma'am.
game recognizes game and all that.
Yeah. It's at this point that her father pulls this ultimate move. He advised her that he had received a message directly from God, and from this they should cease their revolutionary activities. And so she agrees to give up the fight and disband the brigade.
Lame.
But Dad's like, it is only going to take a word of God, an act of God, to get this child to not.
There is no amount of bribery that is going to work here.
Yeah. And honestly, this made me think of the Children's Crusades.
Yes. Okay, yeah. I was just reading something recently about another time when just like in a whole village of kids went missing, that it was before the Children's Crusade and before the whole Pied Piper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? Excuse me?
Well, okay. So I realize we better say that. So let me look this up real quick. So the Children's Crusade is insane.
It's an early episode too, isn't it? Like before the hundreds.
It is 83, the Children's Crusade of 1212.
Wild.
Yeah. So, and that's basically where over 10,000 12-year-olds decide that they're going to go to the Holy Land.
Spoiler, it doesn't go well.
No, spoiler, there were a couple of them, which is even crazier. Now, I have a quote from one of the books.
Okay.
Okay. By the time she was 12, she knew the name and purpose of each of her father's tools. Moreover, her hands knew the feel of them. Sometimes he permitted her to put them carefully in place for him in the meticulous order, which is the mark of a craftsman. Very early, he taught her how to grasp the heavy-handled hammer to the best advantage. She loved the power that came with the study of its sturdy strength. She liked to keep it with her, hooked over her belt when not in use. She also learned to use the knife, the saw, the chisel, the draw knife, the spoke shave, the bit brace, the plane, the square. She watched iron become white hot in the forge and shower sparks as it was shaped and hammered on the anvil. Sometimes even she was allowed to take Joseph's place with the bellows. She was not only fascinated and awed by something serviceable and practical emerged from her father's workshop. She was also kindled to emulate his creative achievements.
That is such a write-up.
Yeah. So our
Wow.
girl knows her way around some things. And one of the things, I don't think I put it in my notes, after she ends up taking orders, after she becomes Mother Joseph, right? You need to understand this nun is over 6 feet tall. This is in the mid 1800s, and she would regularly have a hammer hanging from the belt of her habit.
This isn't weird. This seems normal,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, could have been a rosary. She's got a hammer. You're going to listen to
We
Mother.
we'll have a thing, okay?
Yeah. So yeah, you just that's what you need to know when I talk about her, okay? Now, Esther, when she's about 20, she names herself Joseph after her father, her brother, and the father of Jesus, and then also after Saint Joseph, who's known as the worker, because she has felt a special connection to him throughout her whole life. So
You said she was 20 at this time?
she's 20, and she joins the
Okay.
Sisters of Providence.
Okay.
She also named herself after the Sacred Heart of Jesus and had a life of what she saw as synchronicities. Synchronicities? I feel like I can't say that right.
Sure. I'm not
Or
sure if I could say it right.
signs of God's divine providence.
Okay.
Um, and so basically, every time she's like, you know what, this lines up, the dots connect. This is the God's will. This is how I'm going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, you need to know by age 20, she's got an unusual set of skills. Everything mom's taught her, everything's dad's taught her, and both have taught her equally.
Love this.
Her father proudly introduces Esther to Mother Emile Gamelin, and Mother Emile Gamelin is the first superior to the House of Providence. And this is December of 1844. He says, quote, she can read and write and figure accurately. She can sew and cook and spin and do all manner of housework as well. She's also learned carpentry from me and can handle her tools as well as I can. Moreover, she can plan and supervise the work of others. I assure you, madam, she will someday make a very good superior.
Okay, like it when your dad can speak up for you.
But okay, imagine you go in for your entry level gig and your father's like, one day she's going to be running this place. Dad, shut up, shut up, shut up.
I can appreciate it. Go, Dad, go.
I mean, I kind of love this, but at the same point, like I know my kid would never allow that. I'd be
Well,
kicked in the shins.
to each kid their own, right? Each kid is different. Like what flies for Ethan will not for Owen, and vice versa.
I only have the one, so
Yeah, each kid is different, and they're in the same house.
fair. So either way, we need to remember 6 feet tall. She's got blue eyes, and she has a very strong personality.
I wouldn't have guessed.
Now, as I kind of have told you, with some of the descriptions, our girl knows her way around the tool shack. So she can also identify the appropriate quality of lumber for its various usage. She can farm, she can draw up architectural plans, she can construct buildings, she can make bricks.
Okay,
Like, this is insane. Like when you think about the colonists who came and established Jamestown, who did a crap job and didn't know any of the skills, this girl knew all of them.
they could have used her.
Yeah, well, she was also a couple hundred years later, but I
Yeah, well, they
digress.
could have used a version of her.
Right. Now, she is sometimes listed as the first female architect in North America, but apparently that
Wow.
honor belongs to a different woman named Louise Blanchard Bethune. Now, I cut out a bit about who Bethune was, even though I think that she deserves her own kudos, but this ain't her story. So we're moving on. Okay, so at this time, basically, architects can basically only be dudes.
Shocking.
And so to learn the trade, you need to have a male do this. But our girl, being just has had to really come at it from a variety of different ways.
Okay.
Now, both Bethune, the literal first female architect, and Mother Joseph are actively credited for important architectural buildings by 1881. Bethune had opened her own office as a married woman in 1885, and this makes her the first professional female architect.
Okay. Okay.
They both seem to use this Parisian Beaux Arts principle in their designs, even though we have this school of fine arts that doesn't admit women until 1898.
This
And
checks.
they have buildings built by 81.
Okay, let's go.
Now, I also need to remind us because in our modern world, we don't necessarily live in this ancient world, this old-timey world. It's really hard. It's not impossible, but it's hard for women to conduct business transactions. They need a trusted male to assist them.
Facts.
You know, can't own prop or can't buy property, can't have credit cards, can't open bank accounts, right? So
Right.
this really frustrates the crap out of Mother Joseph because everybody that knew her, including her father, realizes that she is just made for greatness. She's got this extraordinary woodworking skills. She's basically a child prodigy. She feels that her woodworking skills are literally God-given.
Okay, let's go.
She's also kind of pissed off that those ovaries get in her way of everybody taking her serious. But as a
Also facts.
nun, she's able to operate outside of those strict religious standards, and dudes are supposed to take her serious.
Get it, girl.
Now, it's really awesome that her family didn't say, no, no, you're going to marry Pierre. Instead, they were like,
Mhm.
you want to join the God's service? By all means, we'll drive you to the
Go for it.
convent.
I'll even give your resume to the Mother Superior.
I'm going to go sing your praises myself, darling.
Stick it to the Mother Supreme.
For those of you playing at home, in a previous episode, Angie couldn't remember Superior and she said Mother Supreme, to which my brain went straight to Taco Bell.
To this day, I still picture a taco in a habit. I'm just like, oh my God.
It's just, there's just sour cream where the white is.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, there are several attempts. Okay, basically, the nuns are in Quebec, they're in Montreal.
Okay.
Vancouver is British or freshly not British.
Take
We're
your
still at
pick.
that interesting stage here. You know, Esther Short has her own homestead in down what is
Right.
now downtown Vancouver. So there's all of this going on, right? There have been multiple attempts to get a group of Catholic nuns to what is now Vancouver, Washington.
It seems wild that they had multiple attempts and one just didn't work the first time.
There's a lot of wilderness, and
Yeah, I guess that's
apparently
true.
they go by boat.
Oh, well, that'd do it.
You know, and I don't know if anybody's looking at a map, Montreal to go by boat to Washington State. That is an
It's a long
interesting,
trek.
yeah.
Yeah. Without a Panama Canal. And I'm assuming you're not going by boat through the Great Lakes and then like overland for a while and then by boat again.
Yeah, unclear. I didn't get a full route, but yeah, I'm gonna pick up on that thread. Now, 1856, Sister Joseph has chosen four other companions as missionaries to the Pacific Northwest Territories, and she gets promoted to Mother Superior.
Cool.
So she's got a promotion, she's got a squad, and they head out.
Love
Now,
this.
they have a long journey. This is a fairly difficult one at that. It is so bad because the keel of their boat is having a tough time. At some point, it hits the bottom. There's see, okay, the Columbia River, like to get into the Columbia River from the Pacific Ocean, that is called the Graveyard of the Pacific.
Shucks, I bet there's a reason.
Yeah, the boat is scraping the ocean floor.
Ooh, okay.
So at some point, the nuns end up like on their knees praying, like, Dear Lord, deliver us, get us through this. Like they pray that boat all the way through, and they're able to make it to Fort Vancouver.
Is Esther there? Like, w would she have been among the greeting party?
Stand by.
I'm creating like a visual understanding of the time frame.
Esther would have been there. Yeah, because
Cool.
so yeah, Esther would have yeah, this is like 56.
That's awesome.
In case you're wondering, Esther Short, now I get to do that. I didn't do any of this prior to.
Knowing I was going to ask this question because you knew I would.
So, Esther Short, episode 60, she is the woman who made Vancouver, Washington. Like, literally filed the paperwork, gave the land for downtown, and it is now the Esther Short Park and neighborhood for
Thank you.
those playing at home. So, yeah, Esther Short was probably not there when they got off the boat, but they went right by her homestead, and she was probably like,
Cool.
you keep that boat going. Don't you come throw down my fence.
The fence is finally fixed.
Yeah, again. So they get to Fort Vancouver, but there is
Okay.
like, first off, everybody at the fort is expecting a group of nuns. That much we know.
Okay.
When they get there, nobody prepared a place for them to sleep. Nobody prepared anything for them. They knew they were coming, but they didn't ready the guest room.
That's rude.
Isn't that
You
kind of
need a
messed up?
vacuum?
No,
Rude.
not even pick up the underwear on the ground. This is how we
Just
live.
there.
Live with it. So they end up really like primitive things, right? Like they end up kind of staying in a attic. It just it sounded rough. Like
They're
conditions are
not the
sketch.
Ritz.
Right. Now, any other band of nuns would have gotten back on the boat, but Mother Joseph, she hops to, goes right to work. She's making friends at the fort and Hudson's Bay Company, and she begins surveying for supplies in the area. Mind you, she only speaks French.
In the formerly not French, but very almost English.
Yeah.
at a time when we're not. Okay, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Get it,
And so
sis.
she needs to rely on one of the other nuns to translate everything for her. Later on, she picks up English pretty quick. I mean, as quick as she can. But her English is always it's described as halting. Like
Okay.
it is not the fluid French. It is not beautiful. I think she's also very direct and to the point, and I'm pretty sure her
Right.
English accentuates that.
Okay.
Now, because of her skill set, she's able to renovate a small building and they're given a bunch of materials from the Hudson's Bay Company and they establish a Catholic compound and grew this little tiny lot into the head of a diocese.
Okay, that's cool.
Since she's an architect and artist, she tried to design her buildings with the thought that God's poor and infirm deserve to be surrounded by beauty. And so she's responsible for designing buildings, their construction, fundraising. She goes on these begging tours into mining camps. They last for several months, and she raised between $2,000 and $5,000 towards her projects.
That's a chunk of change.
That's a huge chunk of change. And I know better
Yeah.
than to go into the inflation calculator and go before 1918 because those numbers don't make sense to me with how bad they are.
Well, just knowing that in 1930, 5,000 is 100,000 today.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not a small group of cash. As she's doing these begging tours, these apparently, unsurprising, are dangerous because you're talking about
What?
mining men who
Haven't seen
aren't
a woman in days.
right. They don't care. Woman of God, that just means nobody else has had her.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Look, look, look. Okay, they're up against bears, cougars, wolves. There were a couple of things that I read that kind of talked about like how they recognized as they were setting down to camp that they were fighting off wolves. They realized that if they had the fires, that the bears wouldn't attack. At sunrise, one of the bears, a grizzly, went after one of the horses. It sounded harrowing, harrowing. Um,
Yeah.
there's attacks from the local indigenous tribes. And at one point, she ends up jumping in and saving another sister from drowning.
Oof. Okay, we're
And
having
I
a go.
can't imagine a wet habit isn't heavy.
I mean, yeah, no. Still thinking about Taco Bell. It's gonna
Yeah.
be heavy.
She ends up also at some point outwitting a gang of robbers. She convinces one of the younger thieves to hand her a bag for a moment. And then she quickly hid a ton of money in her underwear.
Love it.
I mean, I don't know the full mechanics of that because again, that's a big habit, and I can't imagine, lifting up
Oh,
meters
like
of skirt.
bloomers.
Okay, maybe, but still, you got to get that habit up to your chin to be able to.
Oh, listen, she's been wearing that habit for years now. She knows how to go to the bathroom.
She's made a habit and the habit.
Yes.
Okay, that was unintentional. I hate it. I don't laugh. I don't need that one. Now,
Go ahead,
18,
delete it. I dare you.
I won't. And then I have to deal with that delete comment now. 1873. So when you were in Vancouver, do you remember seeing the Providence Academy? It's a massive three-story building.
Not, you know what I remember is Paul Bunyan.
That's in Portland.
Yeah, that's what I remember. That is like what I remember.
Okay,
And the
fair.
bridges.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
we got lots
sorry.
of those. But 1873, she built the Providence Academy. This is a massive three-story building. It is at the time, largest building north of San Francisco.
Okay, that's a
So,
that's a building.
yes, it is built in a cross straight shape because our girl had Jesus on the mind. She needed 1 million bricks to build this.
Oh, and she knows how to make bricks.
She does, but this is kind of an incredible thing. She ends up meeting a guy named Lowell Hidden, and she goes to Lowell and she goes, "Hey, look. you're great in construction. You're fairly well known in the area. I need 1 million bricks. He goes, I don't know how to make bricks. She goes, here's a book on how to make bricks.
Could
And
could the Mother Supreme have been perhaps a bit neurospicy?
I mean, honestly, this wouldn't surprise me. So, and okay, next time you come to Vancouver, you come see me. We're gonna go down downtown and we're gonna go on a little walking tour and we're gonna
Okay,
look
I
at
would
the
love
brick
that.
buildings.
Okay,
Okay, and I think
love
we'll
that.
also go to the Smoke and Oak barbecue place because I know like it's made the building is old, one of the older buildings in downtown, and it's made with these old bricks, and there are bricks that say hidden on them.
Ooh, so they could have been from
They
his tomb,
were
yes?
exactly from
Okay,
him,
that's
and that's
cool.
yeah,
Okay.
so the hidden bricks. And I remember thinking hidden, what a weird thing to put on a brick. Like,
Until now
was
we
it
know
hidden
that's his
inside somebody's
name.
head? Like, like that's where my brain went. But she taught him how to make these bricks. And so not only did she say she wanted 1 million bricks, she, for this building, hand inspected every brick because they
I
needed to
don't
meet
doubt it.
her specifications,
Don't doubt it.
which mind blowing. And she would end up testing the work on all of her projects on what they needed to be. Does this beam hold weight? Let me dangle from it. Like this kind of crazy, like
I like her.
she is known for being a stickler to detail. She's inspecting rafters and testing the wood by bouncing on the planks to ensure that they can support her.
Okay, it's not going to work if it can't support her. Not
Yeah.
going to support a roof.
She ends up getting into a disagreement at some point with Lowell Hidden over his brick quality.
That was not on my bingo card for the day.
To argue with a nun. Okay, and at one point,
Over
because
bricks
over bricks, and then that he just learned how to make.
that she insisted he learn how to make.
Exactly. Now, at some point, he goes to her and he says, "Hey, these bricks are going to cost quite a bit more than I originally estimated." And she's like, "That's fine. We had an agreement. I'm giving you X dollars for X number of bricks. Sucks to be you. Profit
That's the end of
margins
it.
aren't my fault.
That's yeah.
You're
Stick
not
to your guns, bud.
you're not going to bilk a charity."
That's true. Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, but they end up mending fences over this, which I find lovely. Okay, if you read up on her, there's going to be some folklore about how he cursed the bricks when she wouldn't give him more money and that made the bricks and their use haunted. Okay, whatever. It sounds like bullshit. There's no literal source to find this that I could find that others that have looked for years and literally collect the old hidden bricks can find. So I'm
You know
just going to
what?
go with them.
Can I just tell you what absolutely drives me crazy? And I was thinking about this in my story too. We don't need to sensationalize things that are already sensational.
Yeah.
This is exactly that exact same thing. Like, really?
Yeah, just stick
Carry
just
on.
stick with it. The story's good enough. We don't need to gild the
It,
lily.
yeah, we don't need to make it cursed. Not that a good curse story isn't fun, but this one, it's not necessary.
You say that, and this is great because I've got a great to add to her lore
Perfect.
without, being facetious. She has a special interest in the native humans that lived here prior to the multiple tribes.
Okay.
She ends up developing a level of respect with the various tribes, and she's traveling throughout Oregon, throughout Washington, Idaho, Montana. Like she moves quite a bit. So much so, she ends up establishing the nickname from them, Chief of the Black Robes,
Okay, love this.
which
Do
is
you think she came across pleasant?
Mary Ellen Pleasant.
Yeah.
I don't know, because see, Mary Ellen Pleasant was clearly San Francisco based, and I don't hear
She you
any.
told me she went to Canada though, didn't she? So she could have come
She
up through that.
did.
Anyway, maybe I'm thinking of a different time frame. Sorry.
Well, no, I think Mary Ellen Pleasant was around the same time frame.
But not giving to charities in Vancouver.
When she was giving to charities, she was supporting her local Black community.
Right, that makes sense. Okay.
And we have Mother Joseph, who is supporting the
The
children.
community.
Yeah, like
Right.
she's building hospitals, she's building schools. Like the Providence Academy was a school, and she's like, look, the locals will give me money to build a school for them. And so she built an incredible school. And that school would
That's
later
awesome.
become an orphanage, and she would have an orphanage on the grounds. Like, so she did the full
So
none
she's
bit.
she's just a see a need, fill a need.
Exactly. And they end up, she ends up establishing, I don't think I put this in my notes, but she ends up establishing an incredible hospital, the first St. Joseph's Hospital, and that there's going to be a ton of them that she ends up establishing, including the one that my husband
Oh,
currently works at.
that's cool.
Yes. But like we're talking Portland, loved being Portland, but they didn't have a good hospital, and the citizens were a little pissy when they had to venture across the river to Vancouver to get to a great hospital that she built.
You know, a good hospital is a good hospital. We'll drive across the river.
Well, I mean, I think at that point it was boat, but yeah.
Okay. I guess that'll work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very committed drive if you're going to take car. But either way, okay, going back to her with the natives, her whole family seems to, because I think she had a brother who came with her at the same point as well when they came over. Um, the Parazoo family had a very deep connection to the Chinook Indian peoples in Oregon,
That's
which
cool.
was something that I got to read about. I was like, oh my gosh, this seems really neat. I appreciate her establishing a friendship, it seems like.
hmm
Now, because we have very sexist sources of the time,
Shocking.
because she is doing construction, because she has this endless drive, because she is very direct and has authority, those are considered masculine traits.
Right.
And so repeatedly, those first person sources are describing how masculine she is.
Okay. She can't be
The,
pe feminine with authority. Hate that.
well, I mean, yeah, I guess directness is very masculine.
Whatever. Okay.
You know, like, look, I've been told by people I went to high school with that I probably wear the pants in my marriage. And I just laughed and I was like, he lets me think that.
As all good husbands do.
Right. Like, let's be honest. Like when he says no, I kind of go, I'm gonna be angry about this for a minute, but I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go walk the dogs.
Pout.
Yeah, we're gonna fight
Yeah.
about this in a later, but you're gonna win, but I'm gonna throw my he's never allowed to listen to this. I am barring him from this episode.
So I'm gonna text him when we're done and be like, "Hey,
Hey, make sure you're in the room as she edits this.
please and thank you. Let me know how it goes."
Yeah, or set up the camera and just make sure that the audio is on. Um, now, those first person sources, they're talking about how she has for breathless descriptions of her artwork. Like she is handcrafted the chapel in the Providence Academy, like the altar
Wow,
pieces, all kinds of stuff, and that still exists.
that's awesome.
The proto cathedral, the St. James proto cathedral in downtown Vancouver, which is like when we lived downtown and we had the like we could see it out the back, like
Yeah,
lots of the woodwork there.
that's so cool to be able to make those connections.
Yeah, it is just that is incredibly like, wait, what? Like just to see that she walked all that land and did all that work.
hmm
So this was fascinating for me to study. So she has these incredible skills, this savant energy for woodworking and a restless drive. Like in one of the things I was listening to on the podcast, they talked about how she was at the Portland St. Joseph's Hospital and she noticed that a chimney wasn't built on the foundation correctly and the workers had already gone home. So she takes the chimney apart brick by brick and rebuilds it all night correctly.
Okay.
And I can
Yeah.
only imagine how filthy those habits were.
She had jeans on at this point.
Yeah, by
She, yeah, she was
it
wearing
had to
overalls.
have. But I mean, it was still just like, holy cow. Okay, here's a good quote for her. Immensely occupied ever with creatures and material interests of the community, Mother Joseph never lost the presence of the Creator. A vein of spiritual energy ran from action to action, her masculine energy and her devotion to the growing West,
Okay.
which this woman was an unshakable force.
She had a plan and she was going to handle it.
Yeah, this energy of hers was put into motion for her career for 46 years.
Wow.
She built over 30 schools, orphanages, and hospitals in the Pacific Northwest.
Wow. Okay.
And
Okay.
basically, by her hands, established the Providence health system that still is operational.
That's super cool.
Yeah, she would end up losing her eyesight in one eye. And this would be the result of having what is described as painful metastatic breast cancer.
Mm.
She would end up going through several surgeries and she would end up at the St. Joseph or St. Vincent's Hospital in Portland that she built herself.
Could you imagine?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
before she ends up going there, like at the Providence Academy in Vancouver, her room is right next to the chapel. As her eyesight was going and she was struggling, she had a little window that she could slide open to hear and see the singing orphans during chapel. So she could be that
Wow. Okay.
close, even though she was in the hurt locker.
That's cool.
So now back to St. Joseph's in her final moments. She is unable to sleep. She's crying on and off. She's in agony for days. And then she would end up slipping into unconsciousness on January 17th, 1902. But okay, here's the cool thing. So she had a sister that her and the sister kind of had a rough go from time to time, named Sister Blendine. And they worked out, patched up, mended fences. She teasing Mother Joseph about her possible desired last meal in a final letter stating that she probably wanted, quote, a nice donut and a good glass of fine Canadian wine.
Love a girl that knows what she wants.
Right? And just have your friend be like, you know what? I know what you want. You want a
I
donut
got you.
and you want some wine.
I got you, fam.
Mother Joseph's final words are recorded as Jesus, 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 I commend my soul into your hands. The other sisters held a vigil for her at her bedside for 2 days, witnessing her last breath in the academy on January 19th,
1902.
1902. She was 78
Wow.
years old when she died.
Wow. And that whole time, she was just looking at every corner in that building.
Yeah, making sure it was perfect.
That's awesome.
In 2018, after an extensive multi-year process, the Historic Trust selected Marathon Acquisition and Development for the Providence Academy Redevelopment Project as a result of their commitment to the Trust's guiding principles for their project preservation, compatibility, and fiscal sustainability, safety, and code compliance. And they decided to invest $40 million in the new building and site-wide improvements.
That's awesome. And it's wow. I'm color me impressed.
Yeah, and that's the story of Mother Joseph.
I love a good Mother Supreme story. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And
I'm
I
gonna go
got
check
to
every
learn about hidden bricks, and now I understand
why
more
they're
about.
hidden.
Yeah, and I'm because I was like, oh, it's a hidden family. Oh, and then like, oh, and they
That
lived in the
makes
hidden house,
sense.
which is now a restaurant. Oh, I knew that was called the hidden house, but I didn't know it was was like, I mean,
Like
it's
a lot.
fairly out in the open. It's not hidden. It's kind of
You're not doing a
obvious.
great job.
Yeah, camouflage isn't quite there.
I don't know if you know what hide and seek is, but
Yeah, that ain't it. That ain't it. But I got to learn all about that. And I kind of go, oh, okay, great.
that's awesome. That made my whole day. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. I mean, it's not, I feel like I don't do a lot of heartwarming.
Thanks for doing a heartwarming one. Meanwhile, I'm over here pissing everybody off because I didn't have an end to mine.
Look, we all have our things. I demand a
Maybe it'll be
beginning,
reopened.
middle, and end.
You know what? That just means the story is not finished, right? One day we'll hopefully find out what happened. I
Those
doubt
bones
it.
are long
There's,
gone.
well, and any record that could have been like a written, like, I did it is probably cake. It's done,
I
right?
can write
Like,
one right now, but that doesn't mean that it's accurate.
yeah, yeah. I was literally thinking, like, you know what? I'm just gonna solve it myself. Like, I'm just gonna go find all the documents and do it myself. And then I was like, and the minute I do, everybody's gonna be like, you just wrote this. So yeah,
Well,
thank you for that.
if you need to be, an armchair detective or to do it all yourself, um, email us. We have the email in the show notes. So, help us out. Do our homework for
Yeah,
us, please and thank you. We've been at this for 186 episodes.
we'd appreciate somebody else to do the homework.
Yeah, every week straight. We've had no breaks in 106 or 186 weeks.
Yeah, get it together, people.
Yeah, would you pull your weight for once?
Virginia. That was Vermont.
Vermont.
Sorry.
Yeah, Vermont
I'm
doesn't
so sorry,
listen.
Virginia.
We can talk all the crap we want about Vermont. They ain't listening.
Yeah, they can't hear us. It's fine.
And on that note, actually, you know what? If you know somebody in Vermont, force them to listen to this against their will.
But they
And
have to
on,
be in Vermont when they listen to it.
yeah, and you need to email us pictures. On that note,
Thank you.
goodbye.
Bye.